It is Thursday, March the 21st, 2024. I am Jay Cleveland Payne, and this is Things You Might Not Have Heard. And I am going to give to you right now, in the queue, 8 stories from yesterday that were deemed conversational by you, covering topics of information, politics, current events, and pop culture. We'll explain how the vetting process works, how you call them conversational. We pulled them into this cast here in a bit, and we have some today things, some fun things for the end of the show, so you have to get through the whole thing. Eat your dinner, and dessert will be awesome, I promise you. Our website is theconversationproject.com, so check it out for more details on how we do things all day long. It keeps the chit chat and these intros much shorter than they could be. Also, if you want to really get straight to me, email me whenever you get a shot at jclevelandpayne@gmail.com, or email the show directly at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. We have, I said, 8 stories. There's no particular order as they're put in there, although today we'll give some specific caveats because we had a lot of big stuff that happened. So you kind of get behind the scenes. I just sort of do that, so I apologize for that one. So we're going to keep it as pithy as possible, but also give you some context of what's going on down the line. So let's get into the news headlines for today, starting off with number 1. And as I said, no real particular order, but you'll kind of get the gist of it as we go with it. Now, here's the deal about Shohei Ohtani, who actually didn't clean up this slide, so apologies for that. He was a number 1 and number 3 story per your engagement, and there were 2 separate stories dealing with him. Normally I try to combine them into one thing. I couldn't, so he'll probably dominate the end for the end of the week, but number 3 and number 1, so we have them as number 1 and 2 this morning for 2 separate stories, so double the Ohtani this morning. But here it is. Story number 1, the biggest one. Shohei Ohtani's attorneys accuse interpreter of massive theft tied to alleged gambling. The Dodgers organization has fired the interpreter for Shohei Ohtani because he's basically been stealing from his clients, taking money out of his account and using it to cover his very, 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 very massive debts. His name, Epe Petsahu. He's alleged to he's misappropriated millions of dollars in the process. A very, very bad thing. A lot of such a time is finding this thing out. So, of course, been fired. He will be sued. His attorneys, that's being Ohtani's attorneys, are going to try to do what they can to recover as much as they can from this. But this is a serious thing on who's basically the most popular man in baseball, maybe sports, maybe around the world. His stock back home in Japan, which we'll get to in a moment, is very high. His stock here in America is pretty big. So all eyes on Ohtani and all eyes on what's happening with him and generally with his life and with this interpreter. We'll see how this one plays out. The second story, one that happened earlier in the week, but we finally got around to posting this one, and I guess you guys attended this one until the interpreter showed up, and that's the story where no explosives found at Seoul Stadium in police search following bomb threat against Ohtani. So in this story, South Korean police conducted a search of explosives at Seoul's Gochim Sky Dome following a reported bomb threat. The threat was made against a star from the Dodgers who was there in attendance for a Major League Baseball opener. Yes, they're playing opening baseball in Seoul, and apparently people don't like that. So there's a bomb threat because, as I said, most popular player in the world, most popular player overseas, most popular player in baseball, period. And so people want to go for the popular guy. No actual bomb was found at the thing, just a threat. So they just had a chance to basically scare some folks. Very, very glad we're out of this situation safely. Very glad there should be some resolution to the other situation. Not so good for Ohtani, but when you're that popular, those type of eyeballs, those types of stories are drawn to you. Now let's get to something that's a bit more important for us as states. That is dealing with the state of Haiti, or the nation of Haiti. The state is as a nation. And right now, U.S. starts to helicopter citizens out of Haiti as fighting erupts in wealthy areas. Now, what's been going on in Haiti is a tragedy. It's crime. It's sad, but it's the thing that no one's really all that surprised about. With all the curiousness of the unrest going on, the lawlessness that's happening, the people of Haiti are dealing with a very serious situation. What happens when this happens? The U.S. pulls their people out because that's what you do. You save your folks and do your best for the folks that are there who are trying to keep things maintained. As far as the Haitians go, they're kind of on their own going forward until the U.S. can figure something out. As far as Americans who have been stuck there are going, the U.S. is now starting to get more people out via helicopter, via private plane, via various ways of people going through land and through sea to get people out. And as the fighting, as the eruptions of violence is coming into the more wealthier areas, places that have been barricaded and for so far protected by whatever police force is there, more Americans, more people who are there mostly because they have the money to spend in those places and can kind of live off the land in a very luxurious way, are realizing it's time to go back to New York and Florida and Kansas, because now is the time. Very serious, very deadly situations down there in Haiti. We're very, very, very much trying to pray for the folks on there and have some peaceful resolutions. But right now, peaceful is the least of what we're going to see down there for a while. A nation that is literally, hours away from the United States, we can't do anything about this for the most part. Here's a story that's listed as number 4 in the lineup for this morning. And it is McDonald's spinoff CosMc, say it properly, put respect on CosMc's name, opens first Texas location. This is the second location, period, and the first one in Dallas-Fort Worth. And this marks a new world for the McDonald's business, the brand, and the new brand, which is CosMc, a more adult-styled place, which is basically focused on beverage and breakfast and snack items. Essentially, McDonald's wants to have its own Starbucks to get people from complaining about why McDonald's can't keep up with Starbucks stuff. So they're serving more things like beverages and snacky small sandwich items for breakfast type stuff, as opposed to burgers and fries and shakes. We'll see how this thing plays out. It's got a theme that's an 80s theme on it, so obviously there's only 2, so not many people have seen them in person, but we'll see how these things work out and whether this chain will last. With Starbucks out there doing its best thing to overtake the breakfast market for regular fast food places, McDonald's is fighting back. Of course, Starbucks is fighting the coffee wars with things like 7 Brews and people that have drive up really fast coffee places. But will CosMc be able to be in the mix and make a difference, or will this be another faded brand that has been tossed out there fairly soon? Let's move to the story that's number 5 on this morning. The headline for this one reads, Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler's vampire movie sets 2025 release date. Nobody knows when Blade is coming out, but the Black Panther star and Creed star, along with Ryan Coogler, who's of course collaborated with him on those things, as jumping the gun for the Marvel folks and getting their vampire movie out pretty quickly. Set a date for 2025 release, and people are ready to see this. Now, people have been kind of jonesing for the new Blade and how that's going to fit into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And, of course, people love the character, even if it's not Wesley Snipes. People love Wesley Snipes, but they're ready to see this new thing happening going forward and see how he plays well with other characters or not. This independent vampire film, which won't be Blade per se, is going to be done by 2 Marvel, let's say, alumni on their own private business, and they've got a date for it. So you'll see this one come out very, very soon. And actually, it's going to be interesting because Jordan will play the role of the main vampires, a pair of twins. We'll see how he does that. If you can't get along with one Michael B. Jordan, how about 2, both of them vampires, coming soon to a theater near you. Next, we keep bringing this up because someone has to bring it up. Gayle King and Charles Barkley's CNN show King Charles hits new ratings low. I think we said this last week. This may be the exact same headline, but essentially another new ratings low for the show going forward. And this is posted from last week's ratings, not from last night's ratings, unfortunately. This is just what it is. But it's just getting worse and worse. The show, King Charles, faces challenges since its launch, and of course being the redheaded stepchild of what was left over by one guy at CNN while another guy took over and still let it live, has low record viewership. Nobody's watching, nobody cares, and that's sort of the problem. It was a show that when announced didn't really fit the venue, didn't fit the format, didn't fit what was happening at CNN, what was going on, other than the original stuff with CNN Plus and all the things they planned to do to kind of be more ritzy and handsy and whatever other things that I can't think of right now. And King Charles is still on the air because I guess there's a contract, and I guess you got to pay these folks some money. Don Lemon is learning what happens when you don't sign your contract, because he's not getting paid from the Elon Musk thing. But CNN eventually paid him back from kicking him off there. He's learning how contracts work. Here, King Charles Barkley, Gayle King, It's not a bad show. It's really not a terrible show, as Charles say, terrible. It just doesn't fit the CNN format. And it's a break away from what you have in the evening for the night wars for TV, covering news commentary, where all of a sudden Charles Barkley's there, talking about Vivek Ramaswamy and punching folks in the mouth, which many people want to punch Vivek Ramaswamy in the mouth, so I guess that sort of fits, but not quite in the lineup, not making money, not bringing in eyeballs. We'll see how long this one will go on. Not too much longer, I'm sure. The next story, big deal for Minneapolis as Uber and Lyft leave Minneapolis after new minimum wage law leaves 10,000 out of work. Now, take the headline for the grain of salt it is. We pulled this off of Yahoo Finance, Yahoo aggregate stories, so it can be pulled from many places, but it's the headline that you really have to kind of get into. Did it put 10,000 people out of work? Well, since many people are using their gig economy stuff as main-time jobs, a lot of people do Uber for more or less full-time on the lower end, and a lot of people use this to supplement what they have going on. 10,000 riders, 10,000 drivers sounds like a lot of people, and it is, but it's not essentially a job. It's because Uber and Lyft, as they tell you, are not employers. They are tech companies that allow people to connect with other folks to do side business. That's what they say. But because of the minimum wage law bringing up for people having to get a certain amount of wage, being guaranteed time sitting there in the cars waiting for rides to come in, Uber and Lyft are done there. And they'll be done in various places when they're being told they must pay a minimum amount of money, because the whole point is if someone's waiting for a ride and you're not paying them, that's money that you're making. That's Lyft and Uber. But if you have to pay them to sit there, then they're employees, and that's an issue. We'll see how this actually affects the market in Minneapolis, because that means there's less drivers around to actually get people around. Maybe the taxis will pick things up. As I said earlier, the public transit isn't all that great there, so I don't think that's going to have a fix. But we'll see what happens for people who actually get around with Uber and Lyft going forward. And finally, today is the first day of March Madness, but with that and the Freaknik documentary, Johnny's going to be a pretty busy boy today. Freaknik documentary producers and director didn't shy away from telling the full story. Now, anyone who's heard the rumors and innuendos and the fables of Freaknik will wonder, why y'all pictures so grainy? We didn't have fake, fancy phones back in the day to take pictures. You had to walk around with literally very large video cameras to get this stuff, and really big cameras to snap things going forward. Although I think they did have the disposable cameras at the time, so those may be around. But you'll see lots of video, a lot of crazy video in the next few hours as this documentary was released this morning on the Hulu, and I intend to watch it sometime today in between basketball games. I'm not sure how that's going to happen, but we're going to make that work out. Chasing brackets and chasing some, tale from the past, if you will. Now, I was not one of the ones fortunate enough to be a Freakniker, because I ain't that cool, but you're going to find a whole lot of things going around with Black Spring Break. If you didn't know, you will know very soon, as this thing's going to be big. Called Freaknik, The Wildest Party Never Told. This is a fabulous type of story where, while Spring Break still lives, this was something catered particularly to black college students. The Black College Spring Break Picnic turned into Freaknik, and you just have to watch it and see. Just watch it, and you'll catch up. Now, as I said, on Apologies, Errors, and Omissions, we really wanted to find a way to do an extra story. We really want to do, because since we did 2 stories on Otome, we really wanted to do an extra story, and I fought the urge to do that. So we didn't get 9 stories in the queue. We're fighting that one. But for the admitted story, very quickly, here's the headline, which tells you all you need to know. Kathy Griffin hires private investigator to track down estranged husband, struggling to serve him divorce papers. Go to online, look for this one. It's in the links someplace there. It's also in the feeds, of course. Search for Kathy Griffin. You'll see this new story, as she has more headaches going on that aren't so much her headaches, but the headaches of the relationship she had with her estranged husband, who she's trying to divorce, who she can't seem to find right now. Sounds like a problem that somebody should be able to fix. Let's go to our teaser story right now. This is a story that we could talk about tomorrow if you deem this worthy of chatting and conversation. Now, how does that happen? We gave you 8 stories, 8 headlines this morning, and that happened simply because we put out stories across the internet on Facebook and Twitter, or X, facebook.com/This Is The Conversation Project, and twitter.com x.com/th_conversation. Those are our feeds. Those are our pages on Facebook and Twitter. If you go there, every 50 minutes or so, we post a news headline from various different sources. Some you may love, some you may question, because we question them as well, with various headlines based on what they're producing. Sometimes I'll switch them up, but a lot of times I'll take a conservative headline with a liberal venue, put them together, and see what happens. You engage in the stories, and you tell me what to talk about. Literally, you just like, love, hate, and just click on the thing on whatever platform you're on, whether it's X or whether it's Facebook. And the higher the engagement score that the story gets, better chance we have of talking about it going forward. We're not talking about the story we teased yesterday, which is how the U.S. dropped in this happiness quotient, but we may talk about this one tomorrow for Friday if you deem it worthy. Trump campaign asks 1 million patriots, that's in quotes, for their money to rescue Trump Tower. Now, Letitia James says, she's gonna go and she's just gonna foreclose on Trump Tower to pay off the $500 million in this settlement. What's Trump trying to do? Find some money. We had story earlier this week about the fact that no bank will loan him the money, no bank will put the bond for him, and so now he's going to his people, basically crowdfunding again. Why no billionaire is ponying up any money? Well, that's a very good question. We can talk about this one tomorrow if you want to talk about it. So when this story gets hit, gets lit, gets on there, engage in it. Like it, love it, hate it, share it. Get into the story, get into the world with us. Help us get stuff done, and you tell me what to do, literally, with this one. Tell me what stories to talk about by going to the feeds on Facebook and Twitter and getting this one done. We appreciate everything you do, and the most important thing you can do is follow us in the feeds because you tell us what to talk about every single weekday morning. Let's talk about our spotlight sponsor today, which is this guy, me. So Mastering Your Money is a book I put out towards the middle of last 2023. And it is a book that was a part of a project I was doing moving forward, trying to figure out how I was going to get a handle on my actual money issues, because I got them. So what did I do? What do you do when you get in problems? It's something I did in college. When you have an issue with something, you just go research it, go sit down and work on it till you figure it out. I wrote a book about it. I did some research. I did some planning, did some work, and looked at my actual finances and how I was doing things, saw what was going wrong, found ways to do things better, and put it in a book. Now, I got a little help with some words, some ChatGPT to fill some gaps out, and it goes into a sort of weird sailing reference for a while because the ChatGPT got a little crazy on that part. So there's a lot of, setting your sail to success and things like that. So my co-writer, the computer, got a little salesy, pun intended, but that doesn't make this any less of a good book. So check it out for getting your money mastered as you go forward. This may be the year you need to get your money right because you want to get better for your family, your personal life, or maybe, as this is actually kicked in with my business consulting sort of genre, it fits. You want to start that side gig. You're doing the Lyft, you're doing the Uber, doing what's going on, but you're not seeing where the money's going, so because you're not managing it all together. This will help you manage your money, whether it's for your personal finances or getting an idea of what to do for your business finances, because your business is a person, so says Mitt Romney. Get the book today. Go to Amazon and search for Mastering Your Money, J. Cleveland Payne. There are links in the description for this video, this audio, wherever you're finding this thing from, and find it as well. $10 in the paperback and $5 in the Kindle version. It's also in paperback in other places because we clicked that button. So look for this book, Mastering Your Money, and get your money right today, and help me out by, buying a book, supporting the Conversation Project directly in this sponsor here. So we're also going to take a moment to talk about other direct ways to help out the Conversation Project. And the number one way is the partnership link at our website. Go to this is theconversationproject.com and click on partnership, and you can become a partner. As low as literally $1 a month helps those pennies add up pretty quickly. There's $5 tiers, $10 tiers, $15 tiers for various things. We'll do more hyping up the folks coming up as we add more things this week. We've been doing a lot of things behind the scenes to work out stuff, and we had some equipment issues, so I've had to kind of bring back some of my big time stuff and redo my setup. I was trying to wait until I got back into the house. That's been delayed, so it looks like we're going to go ahead and build this new computer here and then transport it whenever we get there. We'll do with that one. If you are a partner, you've gotten all the sad details of what's going on behind the scenes of why I'm begging for money all the time. If you're not, you'll get them when you become a partner and help go directly. Now, you don't have to become a partner to help out. You can always just follow us on Facebook and Twitter and follow the feeds and engage in the stories. That gives us things to talk about, the most important thing about what's going on here. And you can also email me, conversationinbox@gmail.com. Tell me what to do back and forth. You can boss me around without paying me, if you will. But you can also check out the sponsors page, become a partner, and find out where we are doing hot takes, because that's what we're trying to grow right now, the short videos on TikTok and YouTube Shorts. We're getting those to grow a bit so we can have that to put in our portfolio. You'll see a lot more things. Oh, coming next week, we're going to add a word to the day to the fun stuff for the Big Words Project. Something else I don't have time to do, but we're going to do it anyway, and you'll see that coming forward. So you can help things out like that as well coming forward. So, as I said, we have the fun stuff at the end of the show. Fun stuff is coming right now. And next week, we'll add a word of the day to the lineup here in the fun stuff. But right now, sticking with what we have in the queue for the standard birthdays, history lesson, and of course, a celebration. A celebration, as we would say in our big Dave Chappelle fake voice for Rick James. Birthday wishes going out to Matthew Broderick, who is, of course, everyone knows as the movies, the original Ferris Bueller. Now, Charlie Slatter did an okay job doing the TV version of it, but Matthew Broderick, a very versatile actor, he went to do Ferris Bueller, did a couple of other teen young things, then went off to do a lot of Broadway things. He is he's the narrator for the Christmas Story musical version, which, if you don't know it's a musical, it seems like it's weird. He's done so many things, and he's 62 years old. It's hard to imagine that Ferris Bueller, America's favorite miscreant teenager, is in his 60s, near retirement age. Doubt he'll do that. Also, wishes going out to Gary Oldman, who is a not quite old man, but at 66 years old on the day. And Timothy Dalton, former James Bond, 78 on the day today. Today's history lesson, we are focusing on 1980. Why? On this day, back in 1980, the season finale of the drama Dallas, where the infamous character J.R. Ewing was shot by the insane assailant at the end, leading to the catchphrase and the big mystery in the next season: who shot JR? Back in the days when you had to actually watch TV when it happened. I mean, in 1980, VCRs weren't really even a thing at that point in time. You had to watch it or somebody had to tell you about it. People watched this episode because they knew something big was happening, and of course watched it when it came back for the next season to make sure they found out who shot JR. I think it was Lucy. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they basically had every person in the cast take a picture of them shooting JR because they didn't know it was going to leak, and I think it ended up being Lucy, if I can remember that. I'll go back and look it up in a bit. Today, our celebration is to my good friend Parker. Parker, this is for you, because I am not a fan of tiramisu, but today is International Tiramisu Day. Now, tiramisu is a lovely dessert that people tend to enjoy. Not sure why, but they do, and it dates back to nearly the Italy in the early 20th century. But what we do have for Tiramisu Day, first celebrated in 2017, now it's a dessert from Clara and Gigi Pardova, and they went to they're two Italian food writers, so they wanted to give some love to tiramisu, and they celebrated on the 21st of March because spring. It may not quite feel like spring this year, but get some spring in your mind and just kind of hold it there while you eat tiramisu. This is for you, Parker. Love you very much. Really do mean it. Now, let's get into the wrap-up, which means we're done for the day. Thursday, March 21st, 2024. My name is Jay Cleveland Payne. Thank you so much for being a part of the show on this day. On any day you're here, we are just glad to be here in some cases. Some days it's harder to get up than others. Some days it's harder to get things done than others. Some days the news is really, really terrible. Some days the news is kind of just terrible in presentation. Today, I think we got through it pretty well. If you disagree, or if you agree, email me at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. Let me know how well or unwell I did. How well, unwell, how that works somehow. Make sure you stay limber, hydrated, on task for all the grand things you're here to do on this planet. Because while I need you hanging out to watch my shows, the world needs you out there hanging out doing great things for the world. The world will miss you. There'll be a U-sized hole when you're gone. Trust me. So just stick it out. You can do it. People need you around to take care of stuff. Some of the requests will be kind of silly, yeah, we know, but they need you, so go with that. We want to remind you that you can find us online at conversationproject.com. Find us our feeds on Facebook and Twitter and let us know what stories to talk about. Consider being a partner, consider it, and if you can't do that, email me and just let me know what I can do to make things better so we can work on those ends. Tomorrow, big old celebrations happening because it's Friday, got to kick down on Friday, and it's the second day of March Madness, and I'll probably be watching Freaknik for the 4th time because I'm curious. I'm curious. You curious? Be curious. Be good today. Love you. Mean it. Let's get out of here. Have a great Thursday. Shawl.